all that type of thing. So if you haven't met me before, if you're new, I'm Kelley. I'm the plant-based kitchenista, so nice to meet everybody. If you have questions, you'll see chat. If you don't see it, usually just kind of hover over your screen. You'll see at the bottom, and it'll say chat. Just open that up, and if you have any questions, it doesn't matter if it's particular to the recipe or if it's something like, hey, I've got this my favorite recipe and I'm becoming plant-based. What do I substitute? Or just even substitutions like I don't like bell peppers or I don't like eggplant or something like that. Just let me know. Jerry will kind of signal me when the questions come through, and I'll just answer them out and tell you some different substitutions. I'm really good with like tips and tricks and substitutions and all those kind of things. And if there's ever a time, like especially now that it's scary to say that we're getting so close to the holidays again, it just seems like we just had the holidays, but those are coming up, and so there's always special recipes that you probably your family loves. If you're wanting to look into make them plant-based, let me know and just send me say, hey, here's my recipe, and can you tell me what to substitute for the butter and some of the other ingredients that usually are in our good holiday type of meals. Just let me know, and I'll just send it over, and I'll send you some substitutions. And usually a lot of times and stuff, if I'm not sure about something, just because I'm like, is that flavor going to change? I'll usually make it just to, here in the house and stuff and just be like, okay, it tastes good. Nope, I need to add a little bit more of this and stuff. So when you get back the recipes, they taste really good. So always happy to help, because it's like I always say, it's all about community. It's like how do we, share and learn and do all these great things and live a healthy, long life. That's what we all, I think, are looking for. So, all right, so we are going to be making plant-based jambalaya. And I'll kind of give you, after I make it, I'll tell you some other tips and tricks. Like if you're going to get to do it for a party or you've got family coming over, there's some really pretty things that you can do with a basic jambalaya just to make the toppings and things like that. So I'll talk a little through that. We're not going to do it today, but I'll talk it through, and you'll know exactly what you can do and how to do that. So and then I'm going to make the plant-based Cajun potatoes. So using red potatoes, all kinds of different spices. You'll notice in both recipes, if you've downloaded them, the spices are very much the same. So you see a lot of the garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, paprika. Those are all the things you usually see in any type of Cajun dishes. So there is, I know some people say, don't like all the spice, and there is some cayenne in both of these. But cayenne is, it's a nice smoky flavor, but at the same time, it can be a little bit hot. So just, leave it out. That's, you can just completely leave out cayenne and just do all the rest of the spices, because you've got smoked paprika and cumin and garlic and onion, which just gives it all that great flavor. So that's just a hint. If you're like, that sounds too hot and too spicy for me, just leave the cayenne out and you'll still get the great flavors of what we're making. So I think, Jerry, before I get started, do you want to introduce yourself? Sure. Okay. And I'll pull off my microphone so we can make sure we...
Okay. Hi, everybody. For those first-timers, don't know who I am. I'm Gary Casados, a plant-based nutritionist. Been plant-based now 15 years. It's hard to believe. And I did it for health reasons of my own. Heart disease is progressing, cholesterol meds, 3 blood pressure medications. All that's gone now because thanks to Dr. John McDougall, who I went to his 10-day living program 15 years ago to help with my health issues, lost 35 pounds, and all's good. Decided to change careers, went back to school and got certified in plant-based nutrition. And I'm also certified instructor for Dr. McDougall's Starch Solution program, which he's been doing for over 40 years to help people get well. But anyway, I've been also thinking about starting some classes up here and meet up, doing some nutrition classes. I'll start off maybe some basic stuff like, what is the starch solution? A lot of people aren't familiar with maybe the starch solution. Starches don't make you fat. But anyway, I'm thinking about doing that. And if you have any ideas, any classes, diabetes classes, I do those, heart disease, specialized issues you'd like to hear about, I'd be glad to do that. We can do them through Zoom, of course. And I'll set up a schedule and stuff and do it on Meetup and on my website. So I think, to do a reboot, sometimes we need to re-educate ourselves and maybe forget some things. So if you like that, let me know. Just send me an email. You got my email address out there. But other than that, I'm just going to eat the food and watch. Thanks.
Eat the food. Yep, that's usually Jerry. Eat the food. Let's put the microphone on. Roll the cord. At least he didn't strangle me this time, so that's a good thing. All right, so we're going to get the plant-based jambalaya going, and then on the Cajun potatoes, one of the things that, it says that you're cooking the potatoes for 20, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. One of the things I did is I kind of par steamed them a little bit. That way, because it's we don't have in the class, we don't have 35 minutes to just kind of like wait for the potatoes, like nope, not done yet. So I par steamed them, which they're ready, and then I quartered them. So once I put the spices on them and put them back in the oven, it's just a matter of roasting them up. So that way you can actually see what they look like when they're done, and they're actually delicious. So Jerry talks a little bit about he usually runs out and buys the groceries. He likes to go to the grocery store. I'm like, I'm okay with it, but it's not one of my biggest, fun things to do at the grocery store, but he likes it. So he went out and bought the red potatoes, but he talked about that he bought the organic ones, because a lot of times I agree with him that when you buy just the little red potatoes in the stores, a lot of times they taste like fertilizer to me. They always have kind of a weird, like a flavors type of thing to them. So got the organic ones, and I tested one just a little while ago, and they taste wonderful. They're nice and sweet and creamy and all exactly like what you want from a red potato. But if you don't have red potatoes, use yellow potatoes, white potato. I mean, whatever you want to do, and especially like now you have in the stores where there's the little ones or the fingerlings, you could use those too and stuff and make this dish really quick. So, all right, so we'll get the jambalaya, and then the good thing is the potatoes are kind of par steamed, they won't take as long, so we'll be able to get those in the oven and get that going too. All right, so we're gonna add vegetable broth. Let me go ahead and turn on. Just kind of eyeball it. We always talk about, we don't cook with any oil in the classes and stuff, and we don't cook with oil at home either. So we're always doing vegetable broth or stock, water, or white wine. So white wine is usually in my tomato sauces and that type of thing. But even then, a lot of times, if I don't have white wine around, I don't use it. So it's one of those ones, if I do have around, I'll put it into different tomato sauces and do that. So we've just got vegetable broth going in here. One of the things you have to do with vegetable broth is it burns off really quick when you're doing it. And I get Jerry to get her, but the dog. So it burns off really quick. So if you're kind of like doing other things when you're trying to cook this, a good thing is to take, if you put in like a couple tablespoons of vegetable broth, then you can put a couple tablespoons of water, or just, pour in a little, maybe like an eighth of a cup, and then it keeps your vegetable broth from burning off so fast, which is really nice. So we've got onion. Doesn't matter what kind of onion, whatever onion you have. I just happen to have white. It goes in there. Then we're going to do garlic, so just minced garlic. Another thing you could add to this dish is if you've got, it's a bigger spoon, if you've got roasted garlic, you could add the roasted garlic in, which gives it a really nice flavor. And all you do with roasted garlic is you just take the bulbs of garlic, and so you can either wrap them up in like parchment paper and then aluminum foil, just so you keep keep the aluminum from the food, and put it in 350-degree oven for probably, depends on your oven. So like gas ovens, I would say probably 45 minutes or so. And if it's an electric oven, you're probably hour and 15 minutes. And then it just gets all nice and like garlic roasted things. And then you just, let it cool off, of course. And then you just kind of pull the garlic cloves out, and then you freeze them, which is really nice. And then you just have, and I freeze them like in little bundles of 5, and I just grab out a bundle, chop it up. It takes about 2 minutes, I think, out of the freezer, chop them up, and I put them in all kinds of dishes. A lot of my roasted garlic I use for like spaghetti dishes, especially like capellini pomodoro with a little bit of roasted garlic, like nothing better. So I will buy, like on a Sunday and stuff, I'll buy, have like 10 or 11 bulbs of garlic, the big ones, and then I'll just put them in the oven, and sometimes I won't even wrap them. I'll just put them right in there, just like the bulb is, and I'll just put it right in there, and then just let them roast out, and then just pull them all out, put them on like a tray or something like that, and then after they've cooled off and stuff, then I just freeze them on a little tray in little bunches of 5, and then I put them all in a big baggie and just have it. It's an easy tip and trick to have roasted garlic around all the time. So you're just going to cook the onions until they're translucent. That's always when the onions are ready to go. If you keep adding vegetable broth and things like that to your onions, you'll actually, after probably about 10-15 minutes, you can caramelize your onions too. That's a good way to do it. If you just keep adding it and it starts burning off, add a little bit more vegetable broth, burns off, and do that, you'll get these really nice, like almost like gooey onions. And it's really good on like burgers and potatoes and all kinds of good stuff. But you can definitely caramelize without oil. You pretty much do everything without oil. And it's one of the things too, is a lot of people will say, well, geez, do I have to go buy new pans? All these type of things. This set it was stuff that I used when we had the cooking classes and things in person. This set was like $65 stainless steel on Amazon, and it's the best It's the best thing. And when I get done and it cools off, I can tell you the brand. But it's the best thing. It was like a set of like 10 things. It has glass lids, but it cleans up so well. Even if something sticks to it, and that's just finding the right pan, something sticks to it, it's just a matter of put it under water for probably like 2-3 minutes, let it sit, and then boom, ready to clean up and ready to go. And if they lasted through cooking classes with like 12, 15 people cooking with them, they're actually really decent. All right, so there's the onions, so just translucent. Now we're gonna add lots of different vegetables. So we've got red bell pepper. If you don't have red, you can definitely use the yellow orange. You could use those little mini peppers if you want. There's all kinds of, so if you want all kinds of different color, you could do the mini, or you could do, instead of like half of the red bell pepper, you could do a quarter of the red bell pepper, some of the yellow, some of the orange, and the green, and then it's really pretty. I just did red. I always have red bell peppers on hand. And then when they get, like, sometimes if I don't use them for a while and they start to, they start to get kind of like a little wrinkly and a little soft, I take those two and I throw those in the oven. So I'll put them on a baking pan, and then I'll just put all my peppers in the oven. I'll roast them all down, let them cool, peel off the skin, and then I'll chop them up and do the same thing. I'll put them in the freezer. And then it's like on Saturdays or Sundays when we're getting ready to do like hash browns, and I want the southern hash browns, there goes in the onions and the garlic and the peppers, and sometimes I have, spinach that's frozen or kale, and I just take out bags and different bags and stuff and be like, add this and add that. I think it's one of Jerry's favorite things during the week is when I do the hash browns and add in all the good ingredients, little leftover tomatoes, all kinds of different things. Yeah, one of Jerry's favorites is potato kale hash. So it's like definitely fingerling potatoes and kale and all kinds of, garlics and onions and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna add the green, just get everything all going. Might as well cook all the bell peppers at the same time. And then the next thing I'm gonna add is carrots. So just chopped up, diced carrots. I let them soak because I did them last night, so I always just kind of let them soak in water so they don't get all dried, yucky looking. I think I just threw a carrot on the other side of the counter over there. I'll just stir this real quick, and then I'll just show you real quick what it looks like. It's just very pretty. So you've got your oranges, your reds, your greens, your whites. It's just all pretty colors on it. So it's starting to look really good. And if your vegetable broth starts burning off, feel free to add some more. Even if it says, it says on the recipe, just always just kind of play it by ear, and you add a little bit of water, vegetable broth. If things start getting a little dry, that's all you need to do. All right, so we're letting those kind of cook for a few minutes because we want to make sure especially the carrots, your peppers are going to cook really fast, but your carrots are going to take a little bit longer. One of the things that you could do too is instead of diced, if you want to make it easy, you could get the little carrot chips that you can get in the stores that are in the bags. You could actually put that in there. You can get the carrot sticks that are already chopped up, or already, like the nice slices, and chop those up. You could also do like the shredded if you wanted to. So there's all kinds of different ways you could add your carrots, or you completely leave carrots out. Penny. She's, like I said, I always say in the video stuff, she's older. And so she thinks she sees things, or something that's been there for a while, and then she'll start barking at it. So it's like, come on, Penny. Now that's cooking for a minute or two. I'll show you the potatoes. So like I said, I kind of par steamed them a little bit. You could actually par bake them if you wanted to. I wanted them to be like really, because what I really like on potatoes that are roasted is they're really like soft in the center, so almost like a French fry, like soft in the center and crispy on the outside. So I just did a steam on them for probably maybe 8-10 minutes, and then I just let them cool off, and then I quartered them. So you could leave them whole, but the reason why you quarter them is because then you get all these yummy spices all over them. So we'll be actually putting the spices on those here in just a minute, and then we'll get those in the oven. All right, so this is ready. All right, so now we're gonna add the crushed tomatoes. So these are actually diced because I didn't have the crushed, but you could use crushed, you could use diced, you can use whole tomatoes and chop them up if you really like the chunks of tomatoes. It's all your choice. You could actually even change this up a little bit, and you could actually do fire roasted tomatoes. So if you want something that's even a little bit spicier and a little bit smoky, that would be another way to change this dish up. Like, so maybe you had this version this month, next month you put the fire roasted tomatoes and some other different flavors in it. So It's really a good way to do it. So I'm just putting in juice everything. Makes it easy, which is really nice. Give that a quick stir. Yeah, I just use, like I said, I use the dice instead of going to the store to buy the crushed, just because, and I usually don't have too much crushed on hand. I usually use a lot of dice, and then, but I don't mind, especially in jambalaya, the chunks of the tomatoes and stuff that makes it really good, especially with the spices. So I was like, we're using the diced. All right, so then got that. So I'm going to let that cook. I'm going to go ahead and add the spices because I want to get the rice in here. So I'm kind of speeding up the recipe just a little bit, but I want to get the rice in there because it takes just a little bit longer to cook, and I don't want it to run over. So I'm going to add the tamari. So it's low sodium tamari. Could be low sodium soy sauce, either one, whatever your preference is, or whatever you have in the pantry. Sometimes that's what kind of keeps mine is like, oh, it's going to be soy sauce today or tamari because I ran out of tamari or something. And then the spices. So you'll notice there is all kinds of spices. We've got oregano, thyme, we've got garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, paprika. I'm using a smoked paprika, which I'll show you, and then cayenne pepper and ground black pepper. So the pepper, or the paprika, is one of my favorites. Savory spice, which is here in Denver. So they ground all the spices in a warehouse at like I-70, and so it's probably like, I don't know, 10 miles, 15 miles from here. They grind them all up and they take them to the stores, and then you can buy this, nice jar from them, or you have your own jars. And then, so like this might be like $8 and something to buy this, but then to go refill it, so you can buy like, you'll get bags like this. This is my oregano. I put it up there because I know it's still open. I knew I needed to fill my oregano jar. Then you buy something like this. So this is 2 cups of oregano. And then what I do, so when I buy this, then I keep filling up my jars. And so I always keep, my spices and stuff are always like really fresh and good. And the nice thing about it is when I refill this, it's about $3, $3 to $4. So it's almost like half price, sometimes even less than that for refilling your jars, which is a good thing, especially with spices. I miss savory spice. Yeah, savory spice, but they'll actually ship. Yeah, so if you go online, they'll ship everything to you, including like when during COVID, when it was like nobody was going to the stores, and I was like, oh my, I'm out of, because Jerry eats drinks a lot of cinnamon and stuff in his tea. I was like, I need to get, 2 cups, like my cinnamon, I'll show you. Oh, this is cooking. This is my cinnamon bag that I buy. This is 4 cups. So you can get something like this shipped to you. So all you have to do is just go online. For raw apple pies. And we used the ground Saigon when she was in a cooking class here in Denver. And she's like, I don't know what that is, but that cinnamon is the best. And ended up I had like a 2-cup bag. I said, take it home, but I need to send her more. So she really liked it. Okay, so now we're going to do the spices. So we're going to do oregano and thyme. So I have those together, so just dried. Of course, if you have fresh, you can use it. So if you're doing like fresh and you've got 1 teaspoon, I would say it's probably like on thyme, it's like 2 of the stalks that'll give you that. But you can just, pull the leaves off and put it into a teaspoon and measure it the same way. Then I have garlic powder, onion powder. It's all coming out of there. Sometimes when you put it in the fridge, because I make stuff, I get everything ready the night before, sometimes it sticks. And then I got cumin and paprika. So smoked paprika. You guys could, what Emerald always says, smell-o-vision. It's starting to smell really good in here. And then just a little bit of cayenne and ground black pepper. Are we back not frozen? Okay, thank you. All right, mix when you put the spices in, really make sure you mix them in well, because you don't want to have one chunk of your jambalaya that's going to have like all kinds of spices in it. So before I put anything else in, there's what it's looking like. So just like tomatoes, carrots, green bell pepper, all the yummy green, but the spice smells really good. Smells very homey here, which is really nice. Okay, so we got all that. Then I'm going to add the rice. So I just have basically just a short grain brown rice. Put that in. And then I'm going to add the 3 cups of the vegetable broth. Didn't do a measurement. I'll measure it this time instead of eyeballing it. And if you don't have vegetable broth when you're doing this, water works just as well. And if you notice, like when you're, so, depending on the rice, the different styles or the different brands that you buy, if you notice that it's like when you're watching this cook and it seems to be getting dry, just add some more vegetable broth or water. That happens a lot. There's some rices that will soak up all the moisture, and then there's others that will kind of sit. And even though it's like, even sometimes the same brand I've noticed, that I'll put rice in the pressure cooker. And sometimes it'll be, I'll put the exact same measurements in, and sometimes it'll be like a little bit too moist, and other times it's perfect. So I don't know, just the way it soaks it up. Okay, so the rice is in there, and I'm gonna let that cook. So let me go ahead and put on, figuring out where I put the lid. Get that boiling. And then we're gonna grab the potatoes. We'll put the beans in. So we've got garbanzo beans and kidney beans. We're gonna put those at the end. If you don't like kidney beans, you could do black beans, which, okay, it's not really jambalaya, but it's still good. It's still really good. You could put cannellini white beans. You could put, pinto beans, any type of flavors that you want. And if you don't like garbanzo beans, same thing. Just switch them out and put whatever beans or things that you like in there. We like garbanzo beans. Jerry used to not like them at all. Then went plant-based, and he used to pick them out of his salads and stuff. Went plant-based, and he eats them all the time now. So that's so we definitely do garbanzo beans. And kidney beans, I would say we don't eat a lot of kidney beans. We do them like in chilies and stuff, and that's, of course, the season's coming up. Sadly, season's coming up. But we like, we'll put it in chilies and stuff. But otherwise, we do a lot of black beans. If I go to the grocery store, I'm usually buying the Cooners no salt, and these are all no salt also. But I buy like 2 or 3 cases, and people are like, "Well, are you having a party or something?" I'm like, "Nope." I just, like I said, I don't like to go to the grocery store that much, so I'll buy cases and keep them downstairs so I can just, keep our pantry that's full and make tostados or whatever else that we're looking to make. So I like to do that. All right, let's get the potatoes going. Grab a couple bowls. All right, so we're gonna make the spices. So if you're kind of following along, we've got the black pepper and sea salt and stuff. I always put that as optional. I don't cook with salt. Jerry's like very sensitive to salt, doesn't like the taste. And so I always just, leave it on the table because I like salt, so I'll put it on as what I want and stuff when I'm actually, getting ready to eat my meal. But he doesn't have to worry about the salt otherwise. Yep, so then we've got, black pepper and oregano, got that going. So I'll just put that in a bowl. Because what I'm gonna do is since I'm gonna put it on potatoes and it's gonna stick, I wanna make sure all my spices are mixed up really well. All right, then we've got garlic powder and onion powder. Add that in. Then we've got, of course, smoked paprika and then cayenne. We like things hot here. What did we buy? We bought some salsa the other day. That was probably like about a month ago. It was called a Heine's brand, which it's kind of strange for a salsa name, but it's a guy that makes it here in Colorado, and he had like, I was trying to remember some of the names of it. It was like almost like Death by Habanero, Ghost chili, we had all these different flavors, and we tried them. And so we end up buying like, I don't know, four different jars, like 2 or 3 different flavors. And then what we've been doing is like our regular salsa that we use, we've been adding that to it. And then there's a really good Mexican restaurant here too that has a really good salsa. So it's like we take like the 3 salsas and mix them together, and it's really good. Hot, but good. Okay, so just mix those up. Nice kind of a reddish brown, kind of a rust color. It smells really good. The smoked paprika, the best. Anytime it says paprika, smoked, I use it for smoked. All right, so we have that in there. So then I have the potatoes. Like I said, I par steamed them, and then I quartered them. So those are all ready to go. And it was not easy keeping Jerry out of them either. If I do potatoes, something like this, or I do like cabbage, we made some Thai burrito roll-ups, and then I had a bunch of cabbage made for, we had some chili, like the chili garlic noodles that we had last time. I took the same recipe, but then I added a whole bunch of vegetables. It was hard every time I turned around, there was handfuls of cabbage missing. So I guess it's, it's a good thing he's plant-based and likes it all, but I was like, okay, now I gotta go cut some more cabbage. So, all right, so we're gonna add garlic, minced garlic. One thing you could add to this recipe too, which could be actually really good. Let me grab a little spoon. Which would be really good too, would be like if you had like little chunks of onions or sliced up little onions, it would be really good in this too. I like onions, anything. So let's get all the garlic out. All right. So then you're gonna do a little drizzle of the vegetable broth. So kind of two different ways. So if you haven't cooked your potatoes, easy to drop, just drizzle over the vegetable broth and then mix in your spices. Or if you've got some time, you could add the vegetable broth into the spices into this other dish and then just kind of stir it up and then pour it on. So kind of up to you. I'm actually just going to kind of water them down a little bit because I want them, when they first came out and they were steamed, they were very nice and steamy and had some moisture to them. But they've been sitting on the counter a little bit, so I'm just going to add some moisture. That way, the reason why I did that is because then I want, that way the spices and stuff will actually stick to them. So just do a little bit of toss. All right, so then kind of add some to the top layer. I'm gonna grab the tray and get that ready. So just baking sheet, parchment paper. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna use the last of these spices and then I'm gonna sprinkle it on when we've got it on the baking sheet. That way make sure everything's covered. Because it always seems like that no matter how much you stir, and I know you guys will agree with me, that sometimes the things at the bottom or somewhere in the middle doesn't get all the spice or all the mixture of things that you're looking to do. So I'm just gonna spread it out and then add the spice. Kind of spread them out, make sure they're all one layer. Don't want to waste all the garlic. I think, Jerry, are you looking for Penny? She's right over here. She is a kitchen monger. She's so funny. She likes anything that's in the kitchen. If I'm in the kitchen, I don't even care if I'm just getting a glass of water. She's right behind me. She is like, are you going to go anywhere near the treats? And if I walk over there, because we got some other stuff, she's like, okay, where's the treats? And it could be right after she's eaten lunch. But she's like, oh, treats. Okay, so I'm just going to sprinkle them on. That way you've got everything covered nice. If you like lots of spice, make a double batch. And I know a lot of times, especially if you try this and you're like, that spice is really good, make up a jar of it. Make up one of your, take one of your jars and stuff from, some of the other spices that you've used and then just write on it and say that this is like a Cajun potato type of spice. And then you could use it for, you could use it on baked potatoes or vegetables or all those kind of things. It's kind of fun to, have spices already made up. Like Chef AJ, I know is, we love her a lot. And so she does that. She'll have like favorite spices and she'll pull it out and be like, oh, this is my favorite one for vegetables. This is my favorite one for this, and has them all made up. Last. Okay. So there is our Cajun potatoes all ready to go into the oven. Like I said, since they are par steamed, and I also put all the the extra moisture and stuff on there. You like the different garlic and things, and you can always add, like if they start roasting up too much, just sprinkle them with some water. or some vegetable broth, and it keeps like that steaming roasting, which is really nice. So these are going to go in, and then we'll have them out here in probably about 15 minutes, all ready to go. Wash my hands. I got spices in between the fingers. All right, I'm going to check how my rice and everything's doing. Smells really good. I was going to part cook the rice. I mean, that's something that you could do too. You know, like if you've got this going and you've got some rice that's in the refrigerator because maybe you did some batch cooking and you have extra rice left over, you could add that in. So just like at the last minute, add your rice, you know, because all you're doing is heating it up. And then you've got your garbanzo beans and your kidney beans. So that's a fast, easy way to do it too. But this one's the real rice. I was like, nah, I'll do the potatoes, but I'll let this cook for a little bit. When the potatoes are done, did you say crispy on the outside? And yes, I did. So one of the things that, you know, when you're roasting potatoes, and like I said, if you do them just, you know, regular roasted, you just do it right from scratch, you put them in the oven, you're still going to have the crispy on the outside and the soft on the inside. But if you par steam them, so you steam them for like maybe 5 minutes, you know, so just where your knife's going into the potato, and then you cut them up, and then you do the recipe that way and put them in where they're par steamed, you're going to have where it's crispy on the outside and then a lot of like softness on the inside. So it's almost like you could mash them down if you wanted to and make like almost like a Cajun potato, mashed potatoes too. That would be really good. Like you could take these right now, like just say after they're done, you know, cooked up a little bit and crispy, and you could actually add like some of your soy milk or your plant-based milks, and then make actually Cajun mashed potatoes. So spicy, flavorful, really good. And if you didn't want the spicy, you could just leave the cayenne out, which would be really good. Yeah, but good question. Yeah, I'll show you, because I'll put them in a, I'll put them in a dish and stuff, but I'll pull one out and I'll like open it up for you so you can see it. It's a little bit better when you see it versus me just talking about it. Sounds like it's raining outside now. Yay. Here comes the flood. All right. Okay, so we'll just keep kind of watching. So questions, so great idea. Yeah, thank you. What other kind of questions do you guys have? Because we're kind of letting things cook just a little bit. Spices for salt? Instead of salt. Yeah, so there's so many different things that, and Chef AJ actually, she kind of like, what was it? She's like, I think you need to create something that tastes like salt, because there's a lot of things out there, you know, like salt replacers and stuff, which I don't like any of them. I mean, it's like, they just don't. And so she's like, you need to make something like, you know, do some dried spices and really figure out what's a good salt replacer. And I just haven't had the time to be able to do that. But salt, you know, to get like that salty flavor, if you like limes are really good. You know, if you make if you use like the garlic powders and stuff, they'll give you that. Usually the one I really like is, show you the difference. So advertisement for savory spice, they're just so good. They're here and they're always fresh, and I love the being able to buy bulk. Because like, especially when I was doing the classes, you know, I could, you know, these jars of spices, I could just take actually the bags, you know, in the cooking classes, I would take a bag like this, you know, and it would get, but it was usually like a 4-cup. And, you know, we'd go through it in 4 or 5 classes. So it was always nice to be able to replace it. But you'll notice like, so I'm gonna get a little closer. So this one's granulated garlic. So this is the one I was using. So you'll notice it's kind of a light beige color. Then they also have a roasted granulated garlic, which is my favorite. So what they did is they roasted up the garlic there, and you'll see the difference in the color. This one gives you, if you're looking for like more of like a salt flavor versus the garlic, but it still has a really good garlic, and you want it like a little bit, like I say, more of like the umami of salt. The roasted granulated garlic from Savory Spice is really good. So it gives that. Okay, just open here. So this one, of course, nice, you know, nice garlic smell. This one just has that kind of almost a smoky, so it's the roasted granulated garlic has the smoky smell, but it also has, because of the roasting stuff, gives it almost like a flavor of salt. So there's a lot of times and stuff when I'll make like pasta sauces and things, and they'll just say like my recipes will say granulated garlic. I will grab out the roasted just because I want that extra flavor with it. So that's good. Lime is good, is a really good one that you can add. But like I said, there's a lot of other things. Don't like of doing these potatoes in the air fryer. No, you could actually, yeah, you could actually for the air fryer, yes, you could do this in the air fryer too. So once they're ready to go and you've got them all, you know, the flavors and everything on them, put them in the air fryer. I actually saw what we were watching. We were watching, oh, because Mona told us about it. The, what was it? Contemplated. So we were watching that a couple times, and yeah, the Food Network channel, and it's all, and the lady that runs it is plant-based, and so everything she brings in like picky eaters that are like, I don't like vegetables, I don't like oil, I don't know. There's like, I'm gluten-free and I'm this, and they give you like 5 things you can't do. And then they ask them to go make these recipes, and they all have to be plant-based because the lady that, it has to be oil-free, plant-based, because the lady that makes it is, she's like, that's what I need. And so it's really funny to watch it. But they had an air fryer in there because we had one for a while and we went, didn't like it at the very beginning. I think they've improved them by a lot. But they had an air fryer in that show that had 2 buckets, and I was like, that's pretty cool. That might be something we would look at, because the other one and stuff, Jerry, we got it for Jerry because he loves French fries. It's one of his big things. And it took just as long to do them there in the air fryer that it did in the oven. So he's like, So we end up giving it to my dad, who then gave it to somebody else. And yeah, long story. It's been a well-traveled air fryer. But yes, you could definitely do air fryer. So you'll notice that when you're starting to cook this jambalaya, when your rice is starting to pick up the moisture, you'll notice it's starting to get really thick. So I'm just letting it cook and keep going. But definitely see how long the rice needs. About 5 more minutes. But broth. I'm gonna taste. That's good. The tomatoes, and you got just a little bit of kick of that cayenne, but then you got the smoky flavor of the paprika and everything. Really good. I'll show you the rice. Let me grab the rice that I use, which I really like. Depends on the stores, but this, I like King Soopers, Kroger's, I found, but I think you can probably get it, I'd say even off of, I bet Amazon has it. So this one is Della Basmati light brown rice. This is the one I found in the stores. We used to have a different one that we used, but every once in a while and stuff, when I would cook the rice, to me, it tastes like it had like fertilizer in it. And it just like, if I taste that, like that little bit of flavor, like on corn on the cob or any of that kind of thing, I'm done. It's like, nope, just take it away. This Della, I have been buying it for probably 6 months now. And we eat a lot of rice. We'll do, I'll make up a whole bunch of stir fry. We've got the big cast iron stir fry back here. So, the wok and stuff, and I will make up, like I'll have vegetables that'll be like this high. And then they, of course, they all kind of cook down a little bit and stuff. But, I put that in there, and then I do a bunch of rice and stuff. The Della Basmati, cooks up the best. I've never had an issue with it. And I've never had a flavor like faux pas on it either. It's been really good. So, like the people on TV, I don't use vegetable stock at all. Okay. I was thinking water for yes, you could do the water. Actually, I've done it with water. So I've done this exact recipe and stuff when we've made it just, here in the house. I've done it with water just because it was one day I thought I had, I usually, like I said, I usually try to keep things on hand, but I didn't have the vegetable stock on hand, and I used water. It turned out just fine because you've got so many different spices in here, that smoked paprika and all those flavors, that it doesn't matter. Let's just say that you might want to add just maybe your taste in like a little salt or something, because the vegetable stock or broth usually has a little bit of salt. That may be the only thing that's lacking in it. But like I said, I made it with water one time. It's really good. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Added to make the jambalaya tasty when made. Yeah, so I would just say, if you would play maybe with a little bit, so add a little bit of salt maybe. Just depends on your palate. And then you could probably add just a little bit more garlic powder and onion powder, or be the 2. And then the smoked paprika, you want to keep that about the same, because otherwise it kind of overpowers your dish. And the cayenne, same thing, it'll get too hot. But I would say those are the 2 spices that I would play with, plus the salt, and a little bit maybe like ground pepper and stuff. But I try it. And then write us on the email. It says Kelley, Kelley @ Plant Based Kitchen. You'll see that up on the top, but write me and let me know, because like I said, I've done water before. Or one time I think I ran out of, I think I had like half vegetable broth and half water, and it still turned out really well, because you have that, you have the tomato juice in there, all those kind of things, and it makes it really good. So yes, it'll still work without doing the vegetable stock water or the vegetable stock or broth. You can also make your own. That's another thing too. Local Spicery has, let's see, so Local Spicery has a salt-free soup base called Bada Bing, and a no salt substitute. I don't know if they were the same company. I don't know. I'll have to look up Bada Bing and see if they do. Yeah, and see if there's something out there. I mean, I'd like, if you could find something and I don't have to make it, that would be great. And to get, even more salt out of our system and things and all that, it's not bad, but Bada Bing. Cool, like that. Yeah, like I said, if it gets, if it starts looking like it needs some more moisture, then just add some more vegetable broth. It's not, or water. It's just that way it just kind of keeps everything going. And that way you don't have as much, because rice, when you get in there and it really starts, soaking up the moisture, it'll sometimes stick. So that's just the way to keep it from sticking. All right, let's check potatoes. Those look really good. I turned the oven up just so we make sure that we get them all done. What I'm going to add too is like for the toppings. Of course, I always do scallions. So I always do them like at a, cut them at an angle, so they're just, pretty things. So got the scallions to put on top. And then, we've gotten really into microgreens. And so these are broccoli. My favorite is probably sunflower. And it's hard to find though. It's like you have to really go to certain like the food markets, in the mornings and stuff, the farmer's market. But most of the time and stuff, you'll find like alfalfa or broccoli. So we're going to put those on there too, because those are good for you. Good for the gut, as Jerry would say. Anything good for the gut's always good for you. So eating, microgreens and salads, and we'll do like, if we'll do the plant-based burgers, we'll put a layer on that with all the onions and pickles and all that, and that's just really good. Good for you. I keep testing a little bit and see when it's ready. We got a few more minutes. But flavor-wise, spot on with all the spices. Really good. Okay, nutrition. Okay, Jerry just put on there. Nutrition information. RDA for sodium intake is 2,300 milligrams a day, 1,500 milligrams a day if you have high blood pressure. Which equals what? 1 teaspoon? 2 teaspoons of salt? You think about. Yeah. But you think about like, that like you go out and if there's anything like in a restaurant, of course, high sodium, high sugar, high, usually high oils, unless you get something without the oils, but usually still have the sugar and the salt. You could easily in one meal anywhere out. And I'm not saying fast food or something like that, but even just a regular restaurant with the dressing, because you're going out with friends, easily get, 2,300 milligrams to 3,600 milligrams of salt really quickly. But like I said, I am sugar fine with. I mean, I could go for a long time, because most people, it's either salt or sugar that that they like, that type of thing. Some people have sour that they like, but I would give up the sugar easier than the salt. I like the salt. I think just like nuts, salted nuts and things which aren't good for you also, unless you're doing the whole raw and all that. But that's my flavor. I think that's my vice, is salt. So I really I would say I cut way, way back, but still nothing better than something just a little salty. It's good. Yeah, so not 2 tablespoons, a couple teaspoons of salt, and that's not much. Especially if you're doing a big baked potato and a couple other things. That's not a lot of salt. He's looking it up. So what are some of the recipes you guys are thinking about for, because like I said, sad to think about, but we're almost in September, so so November and December is right around the corner. It's going to go fast. What are some of the recipes you guys are thinking about for the holidays? Especially if you're just transitioning to plant-based, or if you've been plant-based. I always like to see what what people do for the holidays. Type it in, corn muffins. Oh yeah. Who has a really, yeah, corn muffins are really good. And then the nice thing about corn muffins is when you've got, like if you make a whole bunch and you make like an extra bunch, chop them up and make croutons. And then that way, so just take them when you get them chopped up, put them back on a parchment lined baking sheet, bake them in the oven and they get all crispy. Nothing better on a salad than a cornbread crouton. It's one of my favorite things in the world is cornbread croutons. You go to the restaurants, of course, they fry them and they do all those, those nasty things to your croutons, but cornbread croutons on salads, really good. Yeah, corn muff. Who has a really good one too, that if you like a little bit of spicy with it is Jane Esselton. So she has her cookbook and she's got one that is, it's got like jalapenos in it and poblano peppers and like real, like chunks of corn. They're really good. They're nice. But yeah, I like corn muffins. What else? What else are you guys thinking about cooking for? Sorry to say the holidays. I'm not ready for the holidays. It just seems like we just got into summer. Everybody else is like, I don't know. Don't want to think about it yet. I get it. Yep. All right, these are getting really close. They're getting all nice and crispy. And we'll have this ready for, yeah, like, so when we get closer to the holidays and stuff, we'll start doing, like, we'll bring back the, like we'll be stuffing and sweet potatoes. We can do like melt away sweet potatoes. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to do it. We'll do those. I'll show you, this is kind of funny too. This is sweet potato I bought the other day. In the store. These were the size of sweet potatoes. They had them. So these are going to be making up. These are just like the regular yams and stuff, but we're going to make them up this weekend. I'll probably make them up like in slices or chunks or something. Jerry and I like sweet potatoes, so these will be roasting in the oven, but those are huge. Thank goodness they're not real expensive, because otherwise it's like those would cost a lot of money. Yeah, so we'll be bringing back like stuffing. We'll bring, we've got all kinds of different dishes, salads, things like that for the holidays. So kind of giving you guys ideas of different things to try. I also have, I'll do a class, probably not a whole class, but we'll do a class on like vegan boards. So that, like kind of like the charcuterie boards, because those are fun when you're, because like families are back together now and things. So, being able to do boards where people come in and they're like, oh, that's great. And you have all kinds of different, like dips and flavors. You can do, you can do soup boards, you can do spaghetti boards, you can do, I mean, there's so many different things and just snack boards and anything that's, that goes like on a board and kind of wraps around a table or something like that, people love. Not ready for holidays? Yeah, me too. I'm the same way. But making a bell pepper mixed rice dish, that sounds really good. Cooked ground coconut green chili sauce, wow. And ground peanut powder. This is for the vegan meetup on Saturday. I'm going in Denver. That sounds really good. So is it like, so you've got the green chili sauce that's on top of the bell pepper, like everything, is it all mixed together or is it all separate?
It's cooked with the sauce, basically. I make the coconut green chili sauce separate. And then as I fry up the bell peppers, I add the sauce. It all cooks in together. Then I add the raw rice and cook it all together.
Sounds really good. Wow. Everybody's like, Nice. All right, let me grab the potatoes out. So I'm just gonna let this cook just a little bit longer. So there's the potatoes. Like I said, I had par steamed it, but you can see all the nice crunchy stuff. There's all the skin has gotten crunchy and brown on the sides, and then it still has the beautiful color from all the different spices and all that. So I am going to put these off to the side here for a second. I'm going to grab the dish. So I told you I was going to open one. So let me pull one off to the side. Just pull one off to the side. And then that way I can dish everything else up. What's nice about parchment paper, not only does it keep your baking sheets nice and clean, but it also gives you like almost a funnel to be able to just put everything into a dish too. without having to get all your spoons dirty and things like that. If it sticks, then of course, you just grab it. That goes in the trash. All nice and done. Set that in the trash. Looks wonderful. Yeah, just a fork and sitting down, like, watching a good show or watching a movie or something like that. This would be really good. So then I'm going to grab some scallions. Add some really pretty greenery. A few of the broccoli sprouts. Get this out of the way. Yep, I was letting it cool. It is going to be. And I'm going to grab the jambalaya too. So there is the Cajun potatoes. Yum. Like you can see all the steam coming off. Hey, I don't know if you saw a hand come through. If anybody knows Jerry, you know whose hand that was. All right. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. That's good. I like spices and stuff. I love the cayenne in that. That's really good. Okay. So, kidney beans. Garbanzo beans. That's one that's every once in a while. I don't know if you guys have noticed too, like especially since COVID, every once in a while you'll get like a garbanzo bean that even if it's Cooners or anything like that, that's a little darker, and I'm always like, I'm not sure if I want that, so I always pull it out. I like all my garbanzo beans to be the same color. I'm going to add just a little bit more moisture that I have because I only have a little bit left in my vegetable box, so I'm just going to do that. So when you're serving this, so I'm just going to, I'm going to put it in the dish and stuff because this is dinner tonight, but when you're serving this, you could put this into and I'll make sure I do the potato, cast iron pan, and then you could also grill up some vegetables, so like your yellow squash, your zucchini, bell peppers, onions, and things. If you have a little grill, just grill those up. And then when you put this into like a skillet, so a cast iron skillet or some kind of a baking dish, could be that too if you don't have a cast iron. When you have that, then what you do is you decorate the top of it with, I'm just gonna let this cook for just a bit. You decorate the top with the vegetables. So you've got, like you have like almost like a flower. So you'd have like your yellow squash and your zucchini, and then you could put like your tomato that's cut up in the middle, but it's all roasted up. And that's nothing better than that. It's like you've got roasted vegetables that people can dish up with the jambalaya, since it makes it really pretty. So that's just a fast, easy way to make something really nice. But like I said, you could do that on a cast iron. You could do it in a regular baking dish, anything else. So potato. So I want to kind of like squeeze it. There you go. All nice and crispy on the outside, so you get that really nice, like, the chewy and the crispiness and the roasted that I love, that flavor. But then you get also these nice creamy centers, which are really good. So, up. So Jerry, did you give a thumbs up? What's really nice about red potatoes is their skins get really kind of like crispy, really easy, and it's really good. Okay, so this is ready to go. I think I'll dish it 2 different ways. I know I had let's use my spoon. I'll do it without the plate. So even before I get it all dished up, look at the colors on that. It's almost like a fall dish, which I don't want to talk about. It looks like a fall dish with all the colors. I'm gonna keep adding some more. But this is one of those ones too, the recipes, like if you make a whole bunch and you eat the jambalaya for a day or two, you could actually use this, you could put it on potatoes, all kinds of different things. So that's pretty good there for a pile. Scallions. Scallions are always so pretty because they're so bright green. They're just really nice to add to dishes because it just adds that really, really nice looking color and freshness. And then, try to see where I can get the sprouts where it doesn't show so much of just the stems. Here. So we have the Cajun potatoes. Yum, dinner. I have to get my hand under it and not burn. And then we have your plant-based jambalaya. So this is dinner, and you could actually also put this on top of the potatoes. That would be really good too. So all kinds of things to eat, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you think it looks great. This, to me, is beautiful. It's like eye candy because of the color that's in that. It's like you put that in front of people, I guarantee you, doesn't matter if you go to a party, you do anything, people are gonna be like, I wanna eat that. Can you freeze it? You sure can. You could actually, so what I would put it like in, it depends on how you put it, like, like maybe small packets, where it's like maybe instead of a gallon, you've got like maybe the quart size. So then you can bring it out and say, I want 2 servings at a time. Yeah, you could definitely freeze it up. And the flavor and stuff will just meld even more together. And then you've got great food down the road. All right. Looks delicious. Excellent dinner tonight. Thank you. Well, I like your recipe too. It sounds very delicious. So thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you in 2. We are doing, what are we doing? I'm trying to remember what we have for next time. Do you remember? I just put it out. Anybody remember? Jerry's looking really quick. September, 1st of September. Oh, Korean barbecue. Yeah, so Korean that's going to be really good. So if you like really kind of like spicy noodles, and you don't have to make it spicy, but that and really good flavors and all that kind of stuff, you're going to want to be there for that. That's a good one. Not sure how hot your pot is, but you mentioned that you got it from Amazon. Oh, thank you. It is called Cook, so it's Cook, just regular Cook, in as an N, home. So they're all stainless steel, and the brand is Cook and Home. COOK, and then just an N, like as a Nancy, and then home. And like I said, these have been through cooking classes, like all of them, and then they have, you saw that they have the nice glass tops and stuff. But I think it was like, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago that I bought them, but easy to clean, always clean up, always shine up, really good set, but not expensive, so yeah. All right, thank you for reminding me of that, I appreciate that. Thank you, all right, love you guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks for Korean barbecue. Any other Cajun dishes you can suggest can be modified to be vegan? Yeah, we've got, yeah, so can you send me an email? So Kelley, Kelley at plantbasedkitchen.com. Send it to me, and I'll send you different recipes that I have that are Cajun. We've got quite a few of them. Yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Jerry's like, I'm hungry. Bye-bye.